And she clutched in her only free hand, a cell phone.
Oh, come on, please. Oh.
She survived the explosion, but a 34-year-old Petco employee named Jennifer Rohan was trapped in the basement under mounds of debris, a cell phone, her only lifeline to rescuers.
Please save me.
Okay, ma'am.
Jennifer,
stay right with us.
I'm going to die.
all right, we're not going to let that happen. Stay on the line with me, okay?
Monmouth County Sheriff's Department 911 operator Anthony Solano guided rescuers to Jennifer's location while he struggled to keep her conscious and on the line.
I got to get another phone call. Hold on.
No, Jennifer, don't worry about that phone call, okay?
Huh?
Don't worry about the phone ringing.
Okay.
I want you to keep me on the line, okay?
I would like to say goodbye to my loved ones.
She wanted to call her loved ones and say goodbye. I just tried to keep her on the line, just tell her, you know what, they know where you're at. You just got to be patient and let them get there.
I'm not going to make it, am I?
Just days away from her 35th birthday, Jennifer worried out loud that she would not live to see it. But the 911 operator kept her calm, even as she began to lose hope.
And I can't feel my legs anymore.
Okay, Jennifer.
I want to feel them.
Jennifer?
Is it just the blood rushing out of them?
She could hear firefighters from Fort Monmouth trying to rescue another employee trapped in the rubble above her. But Jennifer began to panic when the rescuers started moving the debris to get to her.
You're on my head. Okay. You're going to crush it.
Some 45 minutes after she dialed 911, Jennifer could finally see her rescuers through the rubble.
Hi. Hi. Okay, they're getting me out.
Jennifer handed the cell phone to firefighters as they put an oxygen mask over her face. It took nearly 2 more hours to completely free her from the rubble. Jennifer Rohan tonight is in critical condition at Jersey Shore Medical Center. Dana, Maurice?
Brendan, thank you very much. Now to some breaking news about the future of a new stadium for the Giants. CBS 2's Christine Sloan live at the Meadowlands with the very latest on all of this. Christine.
Well, Maurice, just moments ago, Acting Governor Richard Cody announcing that a deal may be in the works as early as tonight for the Giants to build a new stadium here. This deal, of course, extremely important to him. The stadium would cost between $700 to $800 million. Of course, the governor, who is also the Senate president, coming here to save the agreement, saying that there are still 2 sticking points holding up this deal.
The issue of the Xanadu, in terms of they have to sign off to allow Xanadu to go through, to continue, and the issue of any new taxes imposed by the state of New Jersey. Jets know I want them, and the state wants them to stay, and hopefully they will, and things are looking better and better each day in terms of whether or not the Jets are going to get a stadium built over there.
And of course, the governor responding to the fact as to whether the Jets would also be a part of this deal. The Giants are expected to hold a press conference within the next 15 minutes to give their side of the story. That is a story out here live at Giant Stadium. Christine Sloan, CBS 2 News. Back to you.
Okay, Christine, thanks. New developments tonight in the case of the Putnam County parents accused of keeping their young twins prisoners at home. The grandmother of the young victim says she's convinced postpartum depression is behind this bizarre case. CBS 2's Tony Aiello has the story.
Town of Kent police say 21 Rockwood Road was a bizarre prison for 7-year-old twins Cassidy Rose and John James. The Journal News will report tomorrow that the children apparently slept in bassinets meant for newborns and still used training potties. Investigators believe parents James and Ida Giordano isolated the children from the world, never let them outside, never enrolled them in school, never took them to the doctor.
The young boy weighed less than 40 pounds, 30 pounds.
Putnam DA Kevin Wright says investigators are trying to understand just how this could happen. 54-year-old James Giordano has a good job at PepsiCo in Westchester. Ida Giordano grew up in this home in Rockland, where her parents still live. Today, her mother told me she's, quote, positive her daughter suffers from extreme postpartum depression. Strange behavior and a desire for isolation are signs of the most serious form of PPD, postpartum psychosis. Neighbors say in addition to never seeing the children, they never saw Ida Giordano, only her husband James coming and going in this red car. Misdemeanor charges against the parents may be upgraded when the investigation is complete. While the children are being treated at Westchester Medical Center, their grandmother tells me she will seek custody. Neighbors say Ida Giordano grew up in a loving family, which more than 20 years ago placed an ad in her high school yearbook featuring her baby photo. Tony Aiello, CBS 2 News.
Breaking news right now. You can see the flames. Firefighters battling a house fire in Harrison. Joe Bierman in Chopper 2. Joe.
Hello, Dana. This fire is only about 3-4 minutes old. As you can see, it looks like a 2- or 3-story home on the 300 block of John Street in Harrison. Now, the winds are going to play a major factor here. If you look left and right, there are 2 homes immediately right next to this. The fire department has called in, the Harrison Fire Department has called in units from as far away as Jersey City to respond here to try and help them out. No injuries to report. I don't know, though, that the fire department has actually gotten inside the home on fire, but as you can see, the wind playing a factor tonight in this fire in Harrison. Maurice, Dana?
All right, thank you very much, Joe. And you can see from those pictures, it's dangerously cold outside. Another frigid blast is upon us, causing all kinds of trouble all across the tri-state tonight. A layer of ice on many roadways made maneuvering and stopping next to impossible today, causing a whole lot of accidents and major traffic backups. Firefighters in Westchester had to fight frigid temperatures while battling an earlier fire, as the icy conditions made for an extra challenge in trying to put out those flames. And in Manhattan, people did all they could to stay warm as they headed out to brave the bone-chilling temperatures. CBS 2 meteorologist John Belair is here now to tell us if and when we'll get some relief. And John, you know we need it.
Yeah. We need it in a big way, Maurice. I mean, it's been a brutal 36 hours. Winds yesterday were in the 60s and 50s gusting to. Today, still no picnic, but a little bit less, and they will diminish tonight. JFK reported a wind gust to 47, Belmar, New Jersey, 44, LaGuardia Airport, 41. All basically in the 40s gusting today. Central Park, 32. Winds will diminish tonight, and the snow so far this year, 38.5, more than we had last year at this time. The average for the season is 22.4. If we pick up another couple of inches of snow, there'll be 3 consecutive years of 40+. That would be an all-time weather record. I'll be back. I'll let you know about more snow in just a little bit, Maurice.
Okay, John, thank you. Now to what's being billed in the tabloids as a holy war of sorts. Cardinal Egan and the head of the Public School Teachers Union embroiled in a spat. At issue here is whether the state should provide money for parochial schools. CBS 2's John Slattery has a story.
Battling away in Albany was New York's Cardinal Edward Egan. His opponent, Randy Weingarten, president of the United Federation of Teachers. Egan has charged the unions with blocking school reform, opposing proposed tax credits for parochial school families. He said, quote, "The leadership of the teacher unions in our state have obstructed reform that is in the best interest of children by fighting any initiative that would create safe competition and increased accountability." Here in New York, Randy Weingarten shot back, releasing a statement that said Egan's attack on teachers and their unions was, quote, "not the religious thing to do," end quote. She accused a religious leader of not being religious. Well, Weingarten's union then put out a revised statement eliminating the religious reference, but called Egan's statement sad, saying, quote, "Cardinal Egan's predecessor, Cardinal O'Connor, with whom we worked very closely, would never have attacked public school teachers or the union that represents them. We urge the Cardinal in the spirit of leadership to reconsider his words. We want to work to help the Catholic schools out of their crisis of declining enrollment and school closings, but attacking the teachers and the teachers union is not the answer." With 27 Catholic schools slated for closing, what the Cardinal proposes are sliding scale tax credits for parochial families, which the Catholic League for Religious and Civil Rights supports.
The fact is that people should be given the right to decide where their child goes to school without the state telling them where to go to school. And don't ask people to pay twice. And that's essentially what's happening.
The so-called school choice legislation has support in the Republican-controlled state Senate, but there is stiff opposition in the Assembly, which is mostly Democratic and pro-union. John Slattery, CBS 2 News.
The last of the firefighters injured jumping from a burning building in the Bronx was released from the hospital today. Applause greeted Joseph DiBernardo Jr. as he was wheeled out of the New York Presbyterian Hospital Weill Cornell Medical Center. 2 other firefighters were killed in January, making that same leap. 45 days in the hospital, 10 plates and 60 screws in his body have not changed DiBernardo's feelings about being one of New York City's bravest.
And it's still the greatest job on earth. You know, this is what I raised my right hand to do. I knew there'd be circumstances one day, and I was just hoping to get a free pass, but unfortunately I didn't.
DiBernardo has set a goal for himself. He plans on dancing at his sister's wedding, which is 6 months from today.
Wish him the best. Coming up here at 6 tonight, a major bust for the FBI. Hear why and how many suspected mobsters took off the streets of New York City.
Another incident at Teterboro Airport, and some people are calling for the airport to be shut down. I'm Christine Sloan, and I'll have that story coming up.
Plus, 2 feuding rappers linked to a shootout at a hip-hop radio station meet face-to-face. We'll show you what happened next.
Closed caption is brought to you by Toyota. Choose any direction as long as it's moving you forward.
It happened again for the second time in several weeks. An airplane skidded off the runway at Teterboro Airport. Last night, a small business jet was trying to land and ended up in a muddy area just 1,000 feet from Industrial Road. The 2 crew members and 2 passengers on board were not hurt. The FAA says it looks like the pilot overshot the runway. This second accident makes people who live in the area nervous. Just last month, 20 people were hurt when a corporate jet slid off the runway during takeoff. The plane went across Route 46 before smashing into the wall of a warehouse.
Federal agents have arrested 32 men in what they're calling a major mob bust. Prosecutors say most of the suspects belong to the Gambino crime family. The bust was a result of a 2-year undercover sting by an FBI agent. They say he secretly taped hundreds of conversations and got so close to the suspects, he was almost inducted into the family. That, along with wiretaps by other agents, helped reveal the inner workings of the mafia operation.
Their efforts have helped us rip out at the roots the first post-Gotti Gambino hierarchy.
The suspects facing charges including racketeering, assault, and union embezzlement.
Still ahead, they were at war, but now find out why 2 rappers are making a promise saying enough is enough.
It was bundle up weather today after a blast of snow. So what is next? John is back with your full forecast in a moment.
The feud between rappers 50 Cent and The Game may have come to an end following last week's downtown shooting.
Katie McGee is here now with the latest. Katie.
Well, Maurice, Dana, today the 2 platinum-selling rappers came together in public for the first time since the shootout outside Hot 97 last week.
God bless you all.
It's hard to believe, looking at this embrace between rappers 50 Cent and The Game, that it was just over a week ago the 2 were linked to a shootout outside Hot 97's headquarters. Today, they agreed it was time to put the past behind them.
I just want to apologize on behalf of myself, 50 Cent, and to the fans, the radio stations, our labels, and I'm almost ashamed to have participated in the things that went on the last couple of weeks.
We're here today to show that people can rise above even the most difficult circumstances, and together we can put negativity behind us.
The rappers joined forces, making a donation to the Boys Choir of Harlem, and they plan to make a similar contribution to a youth music program on the West Coast. But their apology may not be enough for the tenants and landlord at 395 Hudson Street, the building that houses Hot 97. At a press conference today, an attorney for one of the unions that do business in the building outlined strict visitation changes, including no more than 2 people at the radio station at any given time.
We've had 3 shooting incidences. We've had innumerable instances where we've had this posse of people come in and rush up to the security station, and then middle in the lobby, and then all go up in the elevators together. Our tenants have come to us. They're terrified of being in that building.
A spokesperson for the radio station responded today saying, quote, "We are in constant contact with our landlord in order to reach a mutually acceptable resolution. Keep in mind that no incidents have occurred inside the building." I spoke to several fans today who said that 50 Cent and The Game are the 2 hottest names in hip-hop right now, and that if anyone can set a precedent for peace, they are the ones to do it. So I guess we see what happens as this falls out.
All right, Katie, thanks.
Yep. John is here talking about the weather after last night's bitter cold and just traffic problems everywhere.
It's been a nightmare. Walking problems, traffic problems, cold problems,
standing still problems.
What's that?
Just standing still problems.
Standing still problems. And you know what? The wind will ease. That's one problem, one less problem we have to deal with later on tonight. Let's check out our view and see what we have. This has been it. Bundled up. like we're living in the Aleutian Islands or Alaska or something like that. It's just way too cold for March standards. It feels like the middle of January. Yeah, got the muffs on, not bad, working out all right there. All right, let's check out some numbers for you. Could turn out to be one of the coldest months of all time, Marches of all time, I should say. Top 11 right now we are. We're averaging 34.2 degrees. We're in 11th place. We don't want to win this race. The coldest March of all time, 1888. The blizzard of 1888, March 12th of 1888. The average temperature was 30 degrees. All right, the high today, oh, that's not good, 31 degrees. That's cold. Normal low is 33, so when the high is below the normal low, you're cold. Normal high should be 47, record high 75 degrees, record low 11 degrees in 1996. Out there right now in Central Park, 29 degrees. Morristown, New Jersey, it is 30. Newburgh, 23. We head eastbound. Connecticut, 27 degrees. 23 Poughkeepsie, White Plains, 24. Bohemia, 25. East Hampton, 27. Brooklyn, 28 degrees. You factor in the winds, but the winds are beginning to ease up. Note the wind chills, not below zero. Winds are beginning to ease up. Feels like 17 in New York City right now. Not all that bad. ISUP 14, Newburgh 12, Bridgeport it feels like 14 on the exposed flesh. Tonight, winds ease up around 9, 10 o'clock, a light wind. It will be frigid, but the wind is what really gets you. Then on Thursday, good deal of sunshine, but no wind, a tranquil weather day. Highs around 36. And then Friday, a shot of snow. Right now, light accumulations. Not looking at anything major, but it will snow arriving Friday morning, 37 degrees. Storm system, will it develop in time for Saturday? Nope, I don't think so. Too much separation. They don't come together and form one big bomb off the coast. It bombs off the New England coast offshore. With this kind of a setup, we remain storm-free Saturday, just some wind and flurries. Clear and frigid tonight, wind eases, icy patches 18, colder inland, sunshine cold, no wind. Thursday, 36, 5-day forecast. You can see that threat of some light snow with a light accumulation Friday. It ends Friday night, and then some flurries on Saturday. As long as that storm system behaves itself and remains offshore, we're okay. Clouds and flurries on Sunday. We'll double check on that potential for the upcoming weekend. Right now, it looks like that storm is going to remain too far off the coast to do any kind of significant damage.
Good. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Coming up, a House committee has subpoenaed some of baseball's top stars to testify about steroids.
So, which players will be heading to the nation's capital to testify? The details are next. Chris is off, Deuce is here, and we're talking steroids once again.
The story will never go away. As expected, subpoenas have been issued to several baseball players, including Jason Giambi. They are to testify March 17th before a congressional committee investigating steroid use in baseball. It's an all-star list of names. Giambi will be joined by Jose Canseco, Mark McGwire, Kurt Schilling, Sammy Sosa, Rafael Palmeiro, and Frank Thomas. Many players said before the subpoenas were issued they were not interested in attending. They now have no choice. There is a catch, though. The players could avoid questions by invoking their Fifth Amendment right. Pedro Martinez was slated to pitch against the Cardinals this afternoon, but the game was rained out. Pedro did pitch a simulated game under a covered bullpen so he could remain on schedule. Yankees and Indians washed away, too. Mets outfielder Mike Cameron is doing an about-face. Cameron's agent told the team it should stop entertaining trade offers for him. He initially balked at the Mets' plans to move him to right field. Cameron lost his spot in center when the team acquired Carlos Beltran. New Jets receiver Lavernius Coles is in town to take his physical. That will make the trade with the Redskins for Santana Moss official. Plaxico Burress is finally having his meeting with the Giants. The free agent receiver was originally scheduled to visit the team on Monday, but a bout with the flu delayed things. The Giants are reportedly prepared to offer a 6-year, $20 million deal. That may not be enough dough to get this deal done. Nice moves. The Knicks are so hot right now, the only thing that could slow them down is a long layoff. The Knicks don't play again until Sunday. Last night, they won their 5th game in 6 tries. They took on the Wizards. Jamal Crawford had the most creative play of the night, passed the ball to himself for an alley-oop dunk. Crawford scored 19 points. Tim Thomas added 12 points. This 3-point play in the third quarter tied the game at 54. Kurt Thomas's jumper in the fourth, part of a 15-0 run. The Knicks won 93-83.
It's hard to go in with a loss, you know, and have 4 days off, you know, but to go in with a win, and we won 5 out of 6, 7 in a row at home, it feels good. We'll get some good practice in and continue to work hard.
The Nets ran into Tim Duncan and the Spurs last night. The Nets shot just 32% from the floor, and Duncan had a lot to do with it. He had 4 blocks. The Nets tried to hang in there. Jason Kidd's 3 cut a one-time 20-point deficit down to 9, eventually down to 6. But no one had an answer for Mr. Duncan. 19 points for him. The Nets lost 90-74. They have dropped 3 straight. Unless Seton Hall or Rutgers do the impossible, the only area team that has a realistic shot of making the NCAA tournament, the Wagner Seahawks from Staten Island. Wagner, which began the season 2-15, has won 9 of its last 10 games. Wagner faces Fairleigh Dickinson in tonight's Northeast Conference Championship game. Highlights at 11. Big East tournament underway at the Garden today. West Virginia and Providence. Second half, Kevin Pittsnoggle. He buries 5 3-pointers. Automatic Pittsnoggle. The Mountaineers nail a dozen as a team. They win easily 82-59. Seton Hall Rutgers in action later on tonight. And one other note, the NYC Catholic League Championship game tonight at Fordham University. Tonight's matchup features Rice and Xaverian. That is a look at sports.
All right. Thank you, Deuces.
Let's take a quick look at what's coming up tonight on CBS 2 News at 11. Ernie Nast is live in the newsroom. Hi, Ernie.
Hi, Dana. Coming up later tonight at 11, 2 cadets at an exclusive military school. They're arraigned on serious charges in a story we first brought you exclusively. We'll be live with that. Plus an exploding problem of health insurance scams, unlicensed companies that pose as health insurers, then they pocket your premiums but rarely pay claims. Kirsten Cole has that story. Join us for that and more tonight on CBS 2 News at 11. Right back to you, Maurice.
All right, thank you, Ernie. Tonight, finally, after 24 years as the face of CBS News, a final goodbye by Dan Rather tonight. He arrived this morning for his last day in the anchor chair at the CBS Evening News. Rather's departure follows a discredited 60 Minutes report on the president's war record. But many people will remember him for his day-to-day reporting over more than 4 decades on everything from politics to hurricanes to the war on terrorism.
I've been really lucky and mightily blessed to have this job for as long as I've had it. I've had it much, much longer than I ever imagined was possible.
And we invite you to stay tuned for Dan Rather's final broadcast as the anchor of the CBS Evening News coming up straight ahead. And at 8 tonight, there's a special send-off broadcast called Dan Rather, A Reporter Remembers.
Look back at all his contributions. Thanks for joining us tonight. That's CBS 2 News at 6. I'm Dana Tyler.
And I'm Maurice Dubois. The CBS Evening News with Dan Rather is straight ahead.
Have a good night. We will see you tomorrow.